With that, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for us to continue the seminar. Following the agenda, next we have the most awaited session, the panel discussion, followed by the Q&A segment. To conduct the panel discussion, I'm excited to invite and hand over the panel discussion to a moderator, Mr. S. Thumilan, Chartered Accountant, Treasurer, Condominium Developers Association of Sri Lanka. First, let me introduce him to you. Mr. Thumilan Sivarajah is an accomplished finance and corporate professional holding multiple prestigious qualifications including Associate Chartered Accountant, Association of Chartered Certified Accountants, member of the Chartered Institute of Securities and Investment, and Certified Practicing Accountant, Australia. As the founder and group chairman CEO of the Blue Ocean Group of Companies, Mr. Thumilan has demonstrated exceptional leadership in building a diversified business portfolio. His ventures span real estate development, property management, construction, and education, driving significant growth and innovation in these industries. Mr. Thumilan's expertise include strategic business management, financial and investment planning, and corporate governance. Today, he will moderate the panel discussion. I would like to invite Mr. S. Thumilan, Chartered Accountant, Treasurer, Condominium Developers Association of Sri Lanka, to the stage. Also, please join me in welcoming the panelist, Mr. Suresh Pereira, Principal, Tax and Regulatory, KPMG Sri Lanka, Ms. KGC Priyanti Manike, Assistant General Manager, Finance, Sunken Overseas Private Limited, Ms. S.I. Asanti, Commissioner, Tax Policy, the Inland Revenue Department of Sri Lanka, and also Mr. Sandeep Hole, Director and Country Head, Ultratech Cement Lanka Private Limited. Over to you, Mr. Thumilan.
Thank you for the introduction. Good evening, everybody. And we should thanks to CCI to arrange a very hot topic, tax issues concerning to the construction industry. Just let me discuss the issue first. We had a nice presentation from Suresh and also Asanti from the tax laws and the legislation, and Priyanti and Sandeep regarding the cement industry. We understand from the presentation there are many laws changes and the rates changes and the rates are jack up because of IMF. Basically, we look like one side, we married to IMF anyhow, and whether the laws and their fiscal policies are going to be practical to sustain the industry or survival of the industry. If you look at one side, as everyone knows, construction industry, as Mr. Nisanga Vijayaratnam DG said, we are struggling to survive. No projects, due to the government restriction of fund, we have been suspended, all the projects suddenly, not systematically. Therefore, we forced to fall into a great financial and cash flow constraint. Another side, one side is tax has been drastically increased. Other side, the bank interest, bank charges, everything is drastically shoot up from 10% interest rate to 30% interest rate, and exchange rates almost 140 rupees to 320 rupees. Today morning also we had a discussion in the finance ministry regarding the Parata law extension, how they will going to tackle the economic crisis situation. We started with the food crisis. Finally, we end up with the economic crisis. So, construction industry, they have a wrong perception in the industry because of COVID we affected. But the construction industry and the real estate industry was affected. 2000, condominium is affected 2017 onward. When the governor say there is a bubble going to come to the real estate industry, every foreigner started stopping buying apartment in Sri Lanka. They got panic situation. Then the central bank informed to the banks, don't lend it to the construction industry and real estate industry. because which is treated as a high risk industry. So on that aspect, we will look at how we can sustain this industry without fail or shut down. If we fail, the policies, if fails, you know, most of the foreign companies are migrating to overseas, especially it has already happened to garment industry. They went Bangladesh, Vietnam, like that they went. But today, our construction industry is saving lot of foreign currency by doing project ourselves, including road project, bridges, infrastructure development. Those days, those projects handled by foreign companies. Today, our architects, professional QS, all are capable of handling all complicated construction in Sri Lanka itself. So therefore, we appreciate, we will question over to the audience how they can answer to your question. Thank you very much. This question over to you, please. Dr. Rohani is asking for it. We can.
Yeah. Hi, ma'am, Miss Asanti. I have two quick questions for you. I am Dr. Rohan Karnaratne. One is regarding SSCL. Now, SSCL, you all calculate for the total turnover, and you all send us red invoices after the end of the year. But the thing is, out of our total turnover, most of our projects are not liable for SSCL. So I have seen certain projects like foreign funded projects or sports complexes and things like that. Certain things are to be avoided. But you all calculate the whole thing and send red notices to our contractors. And the worst thing you all do is you all won't issue the VAT certificate for our contractors to collect the payments now. Because the last 2 months of the year, only contractors are getting the government payment. So they can't collect the payments also even to pay you all. So this is a very serious issue which you should look at. That's number one. I think number two also I will tell you, then I can release the mic. Number two is again regarding the VAT. Some projects, government projects, even for the advance, we don't get the VAT. Some projects, they delay the VAT payment and they delay about 2-3 months and pay the VAT payment later. But you all won't consider any of those things. You all put all the penalties and calculate do your own calculation and send it to our contractors, and maybe you all seize the bank accounts. So that is a very serious issue too. Finally, I have one more point. IRD has quoted one of my paper articles saying that out of 250 billion payments to the contractors, 200 billion been paid. That is true. But ma'am, it is 2-3 years old payments. By the time the contractors are getting those payments, their bank accounts are being overdrawn, they are lost on the project, and they are completely lost. So they are showing my paper article and say, contractor CC, the government has paid you all, therefore you all pay. So it's very, very, very wrong. So please address these three things with RD officers. Thank you very much. Okay?
Yes, thank you for your interesting questions. Actually, all the questions are related to the practical issues. Yeah, that first question with regard the SSCL, if that service is exempted, then you are not liable for the SSCL. Then actually no need to register for the SSCL. So you can easily resolve that issue by deactivating the SSCL registration. For the second one, you raised that one with regard the VAT certificate. Basically, VAT certificate is issued by the, it's a computer generated certificate. If there is any delay, that person come to the department and request for the certificate. I don't know whether there is any delay of issuing certificate. It's issued by the RAMI system. Then the third question you raised about the uh, payment delay of the construction. Actually, we have to work on the legal provisions, no? Even though you didn't receive that portion on your advance amount, as I explained in the presentation, based on the time of supply, at the time of receiving the advance payment, you have to pay the VAT. So if we can find that you have received the advance payment, even though you don't receive the VAT portion on that, we have to assess on that. So I think based on the legal provisions, we have to act without amending the law. We cannot evade that things. Thank you.
Sashanti, that's a very good question. Actually, what is happening practically, some of the government institutions are asking, they are paying advance payment with the VAT, where we need to give a performance bond also for the VAT component also from the company. VAT component also should be included in the performance bond. When the project is stopped for their reason, due to fund restriction or whatever, we have already paid the VAT component to the inland revenue. But what happening when they claim the bond, they are claiming with the VAT. So this is a very practical issue many of our contractors are facing, because this is not a consistent rule. Some government institutions are asking with the VAT, some other institutions are not asking the VAT. I think example like ADB also I made aware today, they are asking with the VAT. So actually the contractor giving bank performance bond or advance bond for the VAT, advance bond for the VAT component also. But actually we are a collecting agent only on behalf of inland revenue. So they should not ask bond for the VAT component. That is our view.
Correct. If there is no supply, we won't charge VAT.
Because the VAT situation, as you said, some agencies ask the bonds with VAT. When the bond is encashed, that amount goes into the bank. When the bank gets that money, are we supposed to set off VAT on that or not?
If there is any liability, it means for the construction project, if there is any liability, then from the bond you have to set off that liability, means.
Yeah, when the bond is encashed, money comes to the bank.
Yeah.
And then if it is with VAT, of course fine. If it is not with VAT, if they recognize that as an income, the VAT is set off from that. Because VAT, if the bond encashment is just reimbursement, yes, then we can, not account the VAT. Otherwise, we'll have to take the bond with VAT. You understand?
That question is not clear. Actually, VAT is charged only for the taxable supply.
Yeah, bond
If the
encashment
bond is taxable, that for the construction contract, I think bond is not a taxable supply.
Then of course somebody will have to get a clear directive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ashanti, it is very unfortunately, I'll make it very simple. We'll say 100 million now bid is over, they elected, then award letter is given. Within a short period, we have to give the performance bond and advance bond to receive the advance. We'll say the contract value is 100 million. Then VAT, they are charging 18%. That means another 18 million. So the contractor, they are asking by the institution to pay, to give an advance bond, not for 100 million, 118 million. 118 million. Then what we are doing is, when the money received, we are paying 18 million to the inland revenue. We'll say some other reason, whatever the reason, the project cannot continue. So then they are sending the bond to the bank, unconditional bond to the bank, claiming the 118 million. So this is the practical issue.
If that VAT is paid to the Commissioner General, then after that it cannot be, it can be claimed only for the that relevant person has an input. Otherwise that amount won't be refunded.
Yeah, this is a different type of question I'm producing, not a question what's happening. See, if you take the construction cost in the Asian region or the South Asian region, we are the highest. Right? So when it comes to foreign direct investment, right, they think why should we pay so much of extra money and come and invest in Sri Lanka when there are opportunities in other places. So which has actually reduced the option of foreign direct investment coming into Sri Lanka. So one of the reasons or one of the factors that the construction cost is going up is because, as you know, fair component of the construction industry items are imported. So there's huge tax on that. So that is one of the reasons that the cost is so high. I think one of the presentations we saw that, right? So if you want, and as Mr. Engineer Nisanka said, 20% of our population is surviving on this industry, right? So when the industry goes down, where they are going to have their bread and butter? So I think this is a national issue. So I think we need to look at it in a positive manner, how to get out of this. Thank you.
Actually, good question, Mr. Jayanda, our President. I will add to that one. Actually speaking, now even not only construction cost is highest in the region, because of the construction cost in the highest in this region, even real estate, apartments are becoming extremely expensive in the region. Now, example, now we have charged VAT also, madam. Asandi. Now what is happening? Blindly we are charging 18% VAT to the industry. But the real estate industry, we are not only paying VAT, we are paying stamp duty when we purchase the land 4%. Then so many VAT somewhere middle. Then as Suresh said, somewhere are going to dance the rent also. Then we are having another dance when they sell it also, capital gain tax. Not before selling, they transfer the deed also. Mr. Asandi, we are paying stamp duty on the market valuation, not even purchase valuation, market valuation by Western stamp duty. In that, so you see, already 4% land and again property value 4% stamp duty. Again they are putting 18% VAT on the apartment. Nobody going to buy. We can implement any policy, but we have to see whether these policies are par with the region. Bangkok real estate development is doing, and India is our direct competitor. So when the investor coming to Sri Lanka, whether it is affordable, it is returns are acceptable like that. And as Ms. Suresh said, one more thing is from KPMG. When we start a project, it's not going to be over within 1 year or 2 years. These high-rise buildings are taking 3-4 years. Now our investors are asking, while coming to overseas and lying come to Sri Lanka, buy the property. Now when we bought over the property at the time of transferring the deed, when we trying to rent it out, your government saying we are going to introduce a tax on the rent. So what is our real estate people position?
Yes, with this our country difficulties, most of the tax burden actually it passed to the all the people of the country, not only for companies but also for individuals. For income tax, it's only 100,000 is exempted per month. Others, then the tax rates, maximum tax rate is 36%. Burden has gone for everybody, not for the construction, not only for the construction company. And I think if we overcome these issues, this crisis, then government will take the decision to grant concessions, and IMF also will agree with the finance minister to grant concessions. Otherwise, even though the government officials want to grant these concessions, IMF also, they won't allow to amend these laws until the country is stable. That's the problem. So everybody is suffering, not only the companies. Everybody is suffering due to this condition.
I think they might have many questions.
One thing that recently I saw on a research done on the Asian region or the developing countries. Sri Lanka, there is a norm, counting the population, so many taxpayers. and we are very low. 1/4 of the norm that has to be paying taxes, we have only 1/4 paying. So that might be the reason. One of the main reasons, I think, the number of taxpayers are very low
It's
compared
also
to the
correct.
population. I think that is one of the main reasons. To add to that, recently I met the High Commissioner of India, and he, the small chat, he said, when they digitalized the entire process in India, within 2 years, the number of taxpayers became double. And he said the state, Indian government has no problem with money there. So I think that's one area that we should be looking at on this
Yes,
subject.
we have taken certain steps for that solution. Actually, we have announced that tin should be taken everybody whose age is more than 18, and now we have issued gazette notification for the data sharing with financial and banking institutions, land registry, motor registrar, with everybody. Then all the informations come to the, if all the informations come to the department, then we can increase the tax files. Other than now, for this year of assessment 23-24 also, we have included the interest income for the income tax return. It's populate automatically. I think in future we can achieve that target, increase of tax file, and pay more taxes, collect more taxes from everybody equally.
We'll put one question to Mr. Suresh Perra. Now see this 100,000 payee tax. The public is feeling we have, through our hard free education, educated engineers and the doctors and the accountants and all that. Then finally when this 1,000 tax ceiling come, most of the people migrated to other countries. So even engineering, our field. So we feel very high skill shortage in the market. So UK, it is the geopolitics we are done to Sri Lanka, because UK has captured all our educated doctors. Now we look at a small money. In future, we may have to go to treatment also for India, like earlier, Apollo Hospital. So don't you think this tax system has to manage social disasters as well when you implement a policy?
So you're asking about the tax policy. Okay, so let's look at it. As far as the individuals are concerned, I think what individuals are bothered about is the income tax. That's the main tax. So what we have to look at is whether income tax system in Sri Lanka is equitable. Right? So the question is, before 2019, the tax-free threshold or relief system was basically 250,000 a month, and now it has come down to 100,000 a month. The question is whether it is correct or not. So are we collecting taxes from the correct places? Sri Lanka has a very low tax to GDP ratio, so Sri Lanka has to collect more taxes. So I don't think there is anyone will say no to that. So the question is, are we collecting the two things? One is, as a policy, have we designed our tax system in such a way to collect the tax gap, the required taxes from the right places, right sources? That's one. Why I said that is, okay, when you look at the individual income tax system, before 2019 or always in Sri Lanka, we had what is called a progressive tax system. So you have a threshold, and then the size of the tax slab and the rate is what decides basically whether the individual tax system is equitable or not. Right? So now what happened in 2024 is what we had. The progressive tax system became almost close to what is called a flat system. Flat system means irrespective of your income, you have one tax rate. So now in countries like America, they prefer a flat system. Why? They are basically all are developed, and it's from the point of view of administration also, it is easy to go for a flat tax system. Always the rich man will say go for flat tax system. Whereas the person who gets low income, compared to the income that they get in a flat system, the low income earner pays more tax. The tax fraction that he pays is high compared to the income that he gets. Whereas the rich person, in a flat tax system, he thrives because compared to the income that he gets, the tax component that he pays, the fraction that he pays is low. So now what we have now is a designing of the individual taxes in such a way to collect the taxes from the masses. I would say it's like a pyramid. You collect taxes from the bottom here, from the masses. So why? Because the threshold was brought down, the slabs have been thinned. So because of that, the situation that we're having is because of that. So when you look at the highest tax rate in Sri Lanka, 36%, one reaches when for a year, when a person who has 3 million and 8,000, 80. So thereabout basically comes to 36. From there onwards, everyone is at 36. So if you ask the question, okay, how to make it equitable if I have my way, I'm going to increase the threshold. That was the election promise where they said, okay, to increase, so that should happen. And when you do that thing, there is going to be a tax loss to the Inland Revenue Department. So you can't basically give the relief here without collecting the taxes from the top. So the 36% will have to go up. And in between, you have to also create tax slabs. Sometimes that we have is our uniform tax slabs. We need to have maybe some thick tax slabs in the middle. So basically, say up to 5 lakhs or so, basically, the middle class to be protected. Now, if you take the question that Thumilan is asking, okay, we do find basically because of this tax system, many of them are going out. Right. The answer to that is yes, we do find a lot of individuals going out, but that's not exactly because of the tax system also. That is because there is loss of cost of living and loss of hope, loss of, educational opportunities for the children. That is the reason why most of them are going out. Tax is just a part of the thing. It's not just the tax. But at the same time, when you're talking about the professionals types, because this is something that I have seen, yes, when you take the category like university lecturers, now when you see their sources of income, it's the salary that they get and maybe a little bit of a bank interest. And if they're doing some little bit external work within the education sphere, so they may get a fee. Now, those sources always come with deduction of withholding taxes. So there what happens is invariably they pay the right taxes. They don't have to manure also. So now here what happens is among the other professionals, university professors are moving out. Now when the university professors move out, that is a disaster because it's the quality of the professor that in the professor or the lecturer in the university that decides the quality of the graduates that are studying there also. Future graduates that are coming out. So actually nobody, though people have not spoken a lot, that category should be looked at very well into the future. So engineer goes, okay, we will have more engineers coming out. No?
Now, what is more important is tax gain or the human resource. Now, because of tax gain, there is a loss in human resource. In our industry, we have a crisis, human resource crisis. You are trying to gain tax, we lose people. Okay? And we are trying to gain tax, we lose SME sector. For last 4 years in construction industry, 3,500 less registered, yes, 3,500 may have gone out of business. Okay, you're trying to work out tax gain, you lose SME sector, especially the medium and micro. And for us, consultancy services, I'm in all, my main problem is technology adoption. You tax technology. Difficult to bring the technology and export the service. So you are trying to gain tax, but we lose our business. So where is the balance?
No, correct. I agree what you're saying. Basically, what happened to the SME is a very unfortunate thing because, again, as I pointed out, in order to come out of the financial crisis without basically doing any planning of the designing of the tax system, we took the shortcut. We just created one single uniform tax rate, and then it was easy implementation. But what happened was SME sector, their taxes doubled, whereas the standard robust companies rate only by 2%. So where is that tax cap that is being collected from in the corporate sector? It is basically from those SMEs and the, what do I call, the preferred industries that the country was trying to promote. It is from them that the taxes, corporate taxes are being collected. See, so this is what I'm trying to point out. Basically, what happens is, okay, with regard to the individual taxes, where are we collecting the taxes? We collect the taxes from the bottom. Even in the corporate sector, where are we collecting the taxes from? We are collecting it from the preferred industries and the SME sector.
But Mr. Suresh, actually adding to his worries, is actually last few months or 1 year, around 2,60,000 SME has been shut down as per the report, and so much of employment also lost and expected to go more. The main reason is, one is bank interest charges, which is entrepreneurs are not liable, honestly. They borrow at 10%, start some business, as he said, put the plan, suddenly rules change, plants are shut down. But banks are auctioning the property, that is auctioning the property to transfer to a property to a sales certificate at the rupees of 1,000 rupees. Here also another question, whether the banks, when they do auction and transfer the property to 1,000 rupees as their sales certificate, are they supposed to pay stamp duty or not necessary? Number one question. So guys, there are so much of defrauding stamp duty in that category. So what they are doing is they are auctioning and transfer their sales certificate. They are saying no one has come to purchase, put it to the bank name, and they find the known people and resell. So we are highlighted to the ministry, they know very well with the example. So in that case, are those banks are supposed to pay stamp duty when they transfer to the 1,000 rupees their sales certificate?
Okay, the stamp duty one I want to start with the provisions and get back. But what happens in auction when this transfer happens, in the VAT Act, VAT is on either supply of a good or a supply of a service. So in the definition of the supply, basically the auctioning, sale in auction is basically captured. So the VAT charge basically comes in there.
Not VAT, stamp duty.
VAT,
so
stamp
because
duty,
they are registering in the land registry also, their name. Bank is taking over and registering in the land registry. So theoretically, they are the temporary owners of the property and they are getting eject orders also. So the occupation also, because some of our MSME members are worrying, taking. But bank never pay. This lakhs and lakhs stamp duty can be collected from them. As you're saying, you are always taxing the bottom line, not the top line.
Stamp duty, and I have to check the provisions and
Sure,
get back.
thank you.
Sure.
I think Mrs. Sandeep.
Sorry?
Yes, you are saying something?
No.
One or two things, just, we are asking questions to each other, but I think we are in a very, very different mode, I will say. So let me share my experience as an individual, not my company, as an individual. As Professor Jayan said regarding India example, when we are coming out of university in early 90s or so, it was in a very, very difficult situation. Even our gold was kept with IMF, London Bank or something. If somebody traced that India's history that time. But over a period of time, then privatization happened, Manmohan Singh, Narasimha Rao, whatever things happened, and now it came in good shape. And last 10 years has been really good. I remember we were not able to count our people, 1.3 billion, 1.4 billion, people did not have any identity card. Then somebody pulled out a person from IT sector, Nandan Nilekani, right? Infosys gentleman. He was given a cabinet rank and then he made this Aadhaar card possible, so everybody has got a NIC number. What you call here NIC, we call it there Aadhaar. So that is there. And then I think things are looking good for our neighboring country India, and possible things. Now what I can see, in case of Sri Lanka also, things are quite optimistic, positive. Now you said regarding the real estate industry, Mr. Thumilan, that why will they give premium? I was calculating the cost of material. Now in Bangalore or Chennai, 350 rupees Indian is basically the bag of cement. I just calculated 350 multiplied, just do the calculation, 1,260 Sri Lankan rupees, 8 transport, is our cess, right? Whatever duty we are paying, and all those things, then it is roughly whatever price is there, that is okay, not bad. Yes, there is a possibility it can come down, but at the same time, quality of life, if you see in the entire region, as an expatriate living in some place in Sri Lanka, my family, whatever, education, quality of English speaking people, medical facilities, primary, I'm not talking secondary, tertiary, the cars available, everything. In today's situation also, quality of life is much better. So many people, they would like to come if we are able to maintain little bit consistency in policy, that's all. As a business people, as an investor, what we want, we don't want any support. We don't want any tax concession, nothing. We just want that you tell us that next 5 years, this is going to be there. One Friday evening, when we are enjoying our weekend, we should not get a gadget that says has become 2 to 4 or 4 to 5. And our weekend is, gone. So what I am trying to say, all those things are in a lighter mode. So that way basically is a very good place. And as a cement company, what could be our interest to continue despite losses? We are making losses because of this issue. What we strongly feel, one slide actually I did not point out one particular figure. World cement average per capita consumption is roughly 515 plus. 4 billion ton of cement is required in the entire world, and population, all those things, 515. In Sri Lanka, in peak time, we have 315 kg per person per year. It came down to 180 kg per person because of this situation. Again, it started moving. So we are definitely going back to 300, definitely, right? And then in between 300 to 500, the peak time and the world average, still there is a scope. So Sri Lanka will definitely have a lot of. Now, question remains of this intermittent period, because how to tackle the situation, immediate situation. We can talk philosophy for 5 years, 10 years, that is okay. What to do tomorrow? As a cement company, I think we have partnered with many of our customers here, and we ensure that if we are given a fair deal with a gentleman's agreement, I think we are taking care of everything in terms of pricing, in terms of supply. Only thing what we want, payment in time. That's all, because there is a rotation requirement. So possibly we will be able to help out in our limited means, because we are committed. Come what may, we have got vessels, our cement will keep on coming, clinker is available, not available, we will be there. So possibly in our limited way we can help, and we can hope for good situation for Sri Lanka also. And you just see, two years back situation and today's situation, I think quite good.
Fortunately, we are clinging also coming from India. Egg also coming from India. So if our fiscal policies are correct, we had a KK cement factory, which is closed down, and Thumilan is closed down. So we are, as he said, our industrial policies. We are talking about affordable housing scheme, which has been started by UDA. Again, they couldn't afford to give in that price because of the material cost escalation. Many contractors suffered with their integrity and all that, even without payment also they continue. So what we would like to have is Sri Lanka localized industries, Sri Lankan, because even egg post came in 70 rupees, luckily now it has come to 40 rupees. So what is happening, as he correctly said, one of the member, sometimes tax policies, the industries are closing down, we are allowing imports. Now example, if you take even the food crisis, we said by using urea, kidney problem is coming, and the stop urea, then harvest is come down. Finally, we imported everything from overseas, Pakistan, Allah, from India rice. So that rice, we are not looking at what is the urea we are using. So therefore, please, we are asking the policy makers, make appropriate policy to survive the industry first, localized industries. Otherwise, we are killing the localized industries and the foreign companies are entering to Sri Lanka, which is not a good sign. We are worried about foreign currency. Our foreign currencies are going out of country. When the contractors, overseas contractors are now bidding lower than us because they are capable of bidding. And even we would like to say that preferential treatment in the port city, we had a discussion also, you see for them tax holiday, for them VAT exempted. But we are selling in the same market, the apartment. So localized contractors and the developers has been penalized. International people has encouraged by the tax allowance and all that. So what is your opinion, Mr. Suresh, on that? That we said the port city, they have a preferential treatment.
See, port city means basically only a person who is registered there as an authorized person, and there's another license called business of strategic importance. That's where basically the person gets the tax concessions. But the important thing is port city business can only do offshore business. In our Companies Act, there is a separate chapter called basically overseas companies. Sorry, offshore companies. Offshore companies can get a registration under the Sri Lankan Companies Act. It can carry on business outside Sri Lanka. It can't carry on business in Sri Lanka. That is a normal offshore company regime. In the port city company regime, it's almost the same. The only addition is they can carry on business within the port city premises in addition to carry on business outside Sri Lanka. But they can't carry on business in Sri Lanka. Under exceptional circumstances, the Port City Act permits to obtain permission from the Port City Commission and carry on business transactions in Sri Lanka. But the profits that derive from those transactions are subject to normal tax laws. The Port City exemptions that have been given are not applicable for that business transactions that are carried out with the permission of the Port City Commission.
Just one thing, thanks, because it is good to have clarification. Sometimes even the wrong impression also, as Mr. Thumilan said. One clarification on cement and clinker, except bulk cement, which is coming only for our company, entire clinker, other cement is coming from right now for last so many years, Pakistan and UAE. Just for information.
Let me ask one question. Mr. Thumilan said that we have to just encourage localized industries. True, I agree with you, but we can't apply that on every industry. Especially if I take the cement industry, Sandeep knows very well, right? We can make only 10% of local requirement locally. Rest has to be imported. Unless we start KK's factory, we have to depend on 10 to 8% maximum local production. So other than that, the rest we have to import. But what has happened last couple of years, just after the COVID and the economic crisis, in the name of local industry or the value addition, consumers are paying more than 2-3 billion rupees a year to protect, not the government, actually tax policy makers, you have to just open your eyes and see, in the name of value addition, they have restricted imports. Right? They have restricted imports, and consumers are paying more than 200 to 300 rupees a bag to protect those local industries. That money doesn't go to the treasury or the inland revenue. That goes to the investors who just build the cement factories. Right? That has happened, especially in my IMF report last time. IMF has clearly written that the involvement of politicians, they have changed the tax policy overnight. Right? You just take the tile. What has happened? Cement is also the same. I calculated only in 2023, people have paid 2.3 billion rupees. That money, that should remain in the pocket of the consumers, but it has gone to somewhere, not to the government. So that's why I don't agree when you say local industries, that is not common for all. Other thing is that the tax experts I want to ask, when you say that the professionals are paying 36% of the pay tax from our, suppose that.
No, 36% is the highest
Highest,
tax
okay,
rate
I am
in Sri
telling
Lanka.
highest
It's
side.
applicable for everyone.
After paying 36%, just take the highest slab, 36%. I use that remain to buy cement, right? Or cement, it is 35% tax again on cement. Then we are paying 70% tax. One cement pack, 10% PAL.
You can't calculate like that.
No,
Not
I mean,
like
but
that.
you see that most of the other things also tax, no? We are paying direct tax and indirect tax.
Correct.
Just because of the tax policy.
So that is the tax system in Sri Lanka, not just direct and indirect. If I put like this in Sri Lanka, when you calculate the different types of taxes that you have, you find something in excess of 25 taxes in Sri Lanka, in excess of 25 taxes. We are just talking about income tax, VAT, social security contribution, stamp duty, or maybe telecom levy, or maybe tourism levy, like that. Basically, but if you actually calculate everything, the taxes that are coming from the applicable in the main taxes, plus the taxes that are coming from the provincial council, etc., when you add all those, you will see in excess of 25 taxes are applicable in Sri Lanka. So good to be a tax consultant.
No, anyway, the rest we have to spend in the market, no, to buy other things. For those also tax. So if you just take the total tax portion, that is not the 30. We can say, okay, we are paying 36%. We can just say we can wash our hand, but that is not the case. When we buy other things, again, those are also taxed. Right? If you just
let me give you the perspective. It's like this.
Cars, yeah. So yeah, that is this thing. So Lalit, so no comments on particular thing.
You see, he is very happy. We are expecting more sales from India for the apartment because he said here is a very cheap compared with India. Cement price also. So we hoping to receive. Anyway, in summarize actually your view, one is what we worried is actually global competition has to be there. I agree. Local industry, I'm not asking to protect in 2,000 rupees tile and the import tile is 600, which is not acceptable. But now the dollar is coming down. Material prices can easily brought down because now 285, 95, like dollar is dropped from 340. But still the price in the cement and other material, we feel it's not a significant reduction. That's what our worry is because it is affecting our industry. But as you know, even though the selling price of the apartment is fixed, we can't increase the price to the customer because courts are giving order. We can't increase the price to customer because of specific contract. So in the contract also, we can't specify the price is variable. So you all had to support us to our industry with the tax policies as well. Anyway, Priyanti also we had to give a chance. She did a nice presentation and she said our tax system is very complicated. And make it simple, then we don't need a tax consultant also, actually.
Actually, there are a lot of taxes that, as Suresh mentioned, especially I mentioned about the custom duties. There, in some countries, only the one flat rate is there, but when compared to Sri Lanka, when we check the custom tax, there are applicable taxes are different taxes. So that's why there should be a simple tax, then all can understand what is there.
No, that's an important point. Basically, it's like this. Now, we all say that Sri Lankan tax system is complicated. We need to simplify the tax system. We need to simplify the tax return. We keep speaking. But actually, how do we go there? Let me ask, how do we go there? Who's designing the Sri Lankan tax policies? What is the system that we have? Sorry? No, IMF, okay, during the last few years, maybe IMF have had an influence, but actually it's not their final say. IMF basically is ensuring, it's only trying to ensure that the amount of taxes are collected so that they can get what they are lending, they can recover. The point is in Sri Lanka, we don't have a proper body infrastructure to formulate tax policies in the long run in the best interest of the country. We don't have that. Our problem is we don't have that unit in the finance ministry. So finance minister, there's the finance minister, there's the secretary, and there's a tax advisor. And then when the budget gets closer, basically lobby groups go and give their proposals, which are in their interest. And that is how basically Sri Lankan tax system is being, how do you say, designed or formulated. What we need to have in Sri Lanka, this is there in the IMF website also, every country should have what is called a tax policy unit. That unit should not have influence coming from the politicians. Basically, that unit has to develop short-term and the long-term policies for Sri Lanka, looking at every aspect. Okay, lobby groups, when they come and ask something, they should do that should go through this unit. It is this unit that should study and decide independently what they are asking, is it in the best interest of the country?
But Mr. Suresh, it's a controversial question. We have a body called Institute of Chartered Accountants of Sri Lanka, where it is incorporated under the Act of Parliament. So there is something called Faculty of Taxation, and we have Institute of Taxation. So don't you have corporate social responsibility to advise the central bank, Inland Revenue, and IMF challenging their inappropriate policies?
Now, I can't speak on those institutions, but at the same time, they do, my understanding, all of them basically do their set of proposals also. But this job of basically designing the tax policies of the country cannot be done by those institutions. They have their own objectives, right? So, but the Sri Lankan government at the finance ministry, there has to have this tax policy unit. So what is in this unit in a nutshell? Basically, you should have a subunit called for direct taxes, subunit for indirect taxes, subunit for international taxes, and another unit, most essential unit, basically to do the number crunching, cost-benefit analysis. Now, when you're giving a tax holiday, when you're giving a tax concession, there is always a cost to that one. Is there a benefit in doing this tax exemption? So that calculation to carry out, there has to be another subunit there. And then, of course, the legislation drafting unit to help the Attorney General's Department. So this is the composition of what is called a tax policy unit. To me, establishment of that unit at the Inland Revenue Department is the first step in rectifying the Sri Lankan tax system. Otherwise, what happens is at the seminars and everywhere, we are just speaking, bringing our grievances, but at the same time, nothing is being done to stabilize our tax system in the correct scientific way. So that is what we need to have first place in Sri Lanka.
I would like to add something for this content, and for this year of assessment 23-24, we have introduced simplified return because of this complication of income tax return. So those who have only the interest income and the employment income, then that persons can submit the simplified return. All the incomes will be populated, and if there is any change of that income, that can be amended by the taxpayer. So that is the one step we are taken to simplify the tax return. And I should mention another thing. As a Sri Lankan, we also change our mindset to pay the correct tax. Even though professionals live outside from the country, they are not exempted in other countries. Maybe they have to pay more taxes than Sri Lanka, but they live in the country because they don't like to pay taxes in Sri Lanka. I don't know what is the reason. They learn from government money, and then after taking qualifications, they leave the country. Then actually it is not good. We should change our mindset to pay the correct tax liability. And another thing I have to mention that you said about the India is so developed now. Actually, I also agree with that. And that people, I think they comply to the law. And they have, in the India recently, they have taken step that to minimize the cash transaction. That things, I think it take a better, it's a better action for the collect tax liability. In our act also, we also introduced that type of provision to limit the cash transaction, which is over 500,000. I think in the future, with these amendments and actions taken by the department for data sharing, that things, I think in the future, we can collect correct tax from everybody.
Thank you, Ms. Asani. Actually, it's a very good conclusion. I think there's a lot of money in the black market. As India did, we had to stop these 5,000 notes. So all the black money market immediately will come to the cash flow cycle. India did that one during some period. It's a good suggestion and encourage cash transaction. Actually, we don't need to increase any more taxes. The existing black money in the market, especially from professional who are practicing, central bank governor himself said from whom they had to collect the money. So the system is they doing the cash, especially people practicing and all that. So it was an excellent conclusion, Ms. Asni. Our objective also, as you said, we had to change our mindset because it is our nation. But I think Suresh said the second R is distribution of money, facility to the rich to poor. But sometimes we make the people also lazy and inefficient. They don't want to work because they used to get free money, free education, everything, even they capable of paying. So with the universities can generate their own income by having MBA courses, PhD courses like that. So our tax rate no need to increase anymore. We need to increase our efficiency of our Sri Lankan lifestyle. But of course, you can charge very high taxes for the luxuries and all that. There's no argument. So please look into our industry because we are struggling very hardly. Not only contractors, even consultants are suffering. So please look into our policies. Thank you very much for everyone. And we had a nice time. So time is up, I think, for the tea break. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Actually, there's a small segment before we conclude the session. Thank you, everyone, for an engaging and insightful panel discussion. Please be seated. There's a small event that we have to conduct, a presentation of momentous. I invite you all to be present to the small segment of presentation of momentous. Okay, now it's the moment to sincerely appreciate the invited speakers who dedicated and determined their valuable time to this event. To present the momentous, I would like to invite Architect Jayantha Pereira, President, Chamber of Construction Industry of Sri Lanka, to the stage. To join him, I invite Mr. Nisanka Vijayaratna, CEO, Secretary General, Chamber of Construction Industry, Sri Lanka. First, I encourage everyone to join me in welcoming Mr. Suresh Pereira, Principal, Tax and Regulatory, KPMG, Sri Lanka. Next, I'm excited to invite Ms. KGC Priyanti Manike, AGM Finance at Sunchem Overseas Private Limited. These momentous will showcase the strong bond between the institutions and the Chamber. Next, it's my esteemed pleasure to invite Ms. S.I. Asanti, Commissioner, Tax Policy, the Inland Revenue Department of Sri Lanka. It is my privilege to invite our next speaker, Mr. Sandeep Hole, Director and Country Head, Ultratech Cement, Lanka Private Limited. Finally, please join me in welcoming Mr. S. Thumilan, Treasurer, Condominium Developers Association of Sri Lanka. Thank you very much for moderating the panel. These momentous will represent how grateful we are. Thank you, sirs. Ladies and gentlemen, with that, we have come to the end of the session. Today, we have covered a wealth of knowledge and practical strategies in regard to the tax issues concerning the construction industry, and your active participation has truly made this event a huge success. So I would like to take a moment to acknowledge Architect Jayanta Pereira, CCI President, Board of Directors and CCI Council for guiding the Chamber of Construction Industry to success. Engineer Nissanka Vijayaratna, Secretary General, CEO, for leading the organization. Thank you all. Thank you to all the resource speakers for their valuable sessions. Mr. Suresh Pereira, Ms. K.G.C. Priyanti Manike, Ms. S.I. Asante, Mr. Sandeep Hole, Mr. S. Thumilan, and all the other speakers. Special thanks goes to staff members of CCI for their fullest support, and also to the members of GAP HQ, including Professor Ranjit Disanayaka. Special thanks goes to our sponsors, main sponsor Ultratech Cement Lanka Private Limited and co-sponsor China Harbour Engineering Company Limited. Thank you all other supporters who helped in numerous ways to make this event a huge success. Last but not least, we would like to thank all participants who join us physically and online. So it's time for us to conclude the online session. All the physical participants, please enjoy the refreshment arranged in the foyer area. So great things always await us. I'm Sadisha, your event host today. Have a great evening. Thank you.